You dressed as a boy, you shaved your head, and called yourself Alex. Now, looking back on those years, do you understand why you wanted to do that?
Yeah, and I still have the same impulse all the time. I mean, I feel like when I remember growing up until I was about, it was when I was about 11, 12 is when I started dropping Alex and I was Phoebe again. But I just thought they just had more fun. I just wanted to be out climbing the trees and wearing comfortable clothes. And, I just didn't feel like it was for me. And a lot of my friends were really into the dresses and the dolls and all that kind of stuff. It just wasn't my bag. And it just seemed so, you kind of had to choose one or the other at that time. And I just definitely wanted to be climbing the trees and that kind of thing. And so I had a friend called Maria, and we both cut our hair really short and, yeah, shaved it at one point and wore boxer shorts and swimming trunks. And we were just boys. I remember going into Gap once when I was about 7, and the guy coming up to me when I was with my mum and said, "So, what does the young man want?" And I was like, "Yes, convinced."
Do you think if that was happening today, that your parents would wonder if you were trans?
I think my parents would have been exactly the same, and they never had an issue with it. They were just sort of like, "Sure, you're Alex. Let's take you to Gap, Alex." And I just remember it never being a problem. I mean, there's the tomboy kind of thing. I mean, I wonder now if I had back then, if I had because I was very, very fervent about it when I was younger as well. I was like, I just desperately wanted to be a boy more than anything else. If it had been taken seriously and maybe by my school or something, and I'd spoken about those options had been given to me, I probably would have jumped at it. But I don't think my parents would have been any different. I think they're just like live and let live, and so I was very, very happy being a girl dressed as a boy, as long as I was allowed to express myself that way and allowed to change my name and stuff. They were like, "Yeah, whatever makes you happy."
So
And then one day I turn up and I'm like, "I'm Phoebe now." And they were like, "Welcome home."
what made you change? When you went back to Phoebe, were you also changing the way you dressed? Because the nice thing about when you're a girl or a woman, you can still wear man's clothes. And, because what are they? They're pants and jackets and shirts, and T-shirts.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of standard. When a man wears a dress, that's making much more of a major statement than when a woman wears like jeans and a T-shirt, which both
I know.
genders wear.
So unfair. So unfair. It's just such a basic form of expression, just what you wear. And I do feel like that's the irony, is that now it probably feels more limiting clothes-wise anyway to be a man than it would be to be it's massively more limiting. What changed it? I don't know. I went to a boarding school for a year and a half, 2 years, and then I think I was just in a kind of like middle range there. Like I wasn't thinking either being a boy or being a girl, but then I discovered boys in a big way. And one in particular, I remember meeting a boy and then suddenly becoming really aware that I looked sort of boyish myself and that he probably didn't like that. And that was the kind of crossover point. And then I was like, "Whoa, hey!" I was like, "This stuff is fun." And then I just dressed like such a little tart for years and years and years.
So this is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, an English actress. This particular recording is an interview that she did early in 2019 for NPR's Fresh Air. And the reason I want to share it with you is to point out that not everybody who thinks they are trans is actually trans. And in fact, I would say that trans in reality is virtually non-existent to completely non-existent. I mean, think about it for a moment here. Think about it. You know what? I'm a man. But for some reason, I was born into a body that doesn't have a penis, but instead has a vagina and breasts. Really? Oh, really? Then how do you know you're a man? I mean, how could you possibly know? I personally cannot describe to you what it is like to be a man. I simply exist. Because a fish, for example, the fish cannot describe the water that it lives in. Right? It knows no difference. So I want to bring this example to your attention here that she is a woman who thought, yeah, I would have probably been trans when I was a teenager. That wasn't an option. So we really should not be so quick to go, okay, you're a person of the opposite gender. If that happens, it's got to be exceptionally rare. Exceptionally rare. Like maybe 20 people in the whole history of humanity have experienced this phenomenon. And the only reason I give any credence to it at all is because of hermaphrodites, people who are born with mixed up genitalia. And even people who are born that way identify. They feel like I'm a man or I'm a woman. So, just because you have mixed up genitals doesn't mean that you are something in between man and woman necessarily, right? It depends on hormone levels, largely. Your hormone levels are those of a female if you're in a female body, though. Your hormone levels are those of a male if you're in a male body. That's just how it works. So you thinking that you're a person of the opposite gender is just ridiculous. The people I've known who were like, I'm trans, they were like the pinnacle representation of their gender. Like the women who were like, oh, I'm actually a boy, were so effeminate it was scary. And the men who were like, oh, I think I'm a girl, were like not female, not feminine at all. They were not females. So I don't know. There needs to be a lot more research done on this before we start chopping off everybody's genitals. That's what we're doing already. Oh, okay, it's your choice. I mean, I suppose if that's what you want to do, I'm not going to stop you from doing it, but I think you're foolish for doing it. And we see that because there are a lot of people who regret having transitioned and actually transitioned back. The solution, I don't think, is to cut up your body. Yeah, you may feel like that's what you want to do, change into the opposite gender, although I don't know how you could possibly have a frame of reference for that. You know, it's not like you were once upon a time a boy and then suddenly you were born as a girl and go, you know what, I think I'm a boy. No, that's not how it works. As far as we know, you only get one go round. So this is a really weird world we're living in now where it's like, oh yeah, we should just be whatever gender we want to be and this and that, and it's fine to change and do this, and it's like, are you sure about that? Really? You really sure about that? Just stop and think about that. Maybe there is a solution to the problem besides permanently altering your body. So, thanks for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.